Hey everyone, just wanted to make a quick video about something I'm really passionate about working with my clients is expectations management. I feel like a lot of times when we have a disconnect with a client at any level, whether they're a competitor or class programming or anything remote, it usually has to do with expectations management and communication. So I want to talk a little bit about how I've tried to find some solutions and hopefully offer a way that you guys could as well. So the first thing with expectations that I think is super important is that they need to start from the very beginning of the relationship. Unfortunately, for many of us, including myself, we started relationships out where we did not do that really well. So what do we need to do first is if you have a relationship with a client where the expectations aren't the boundaries aren't really set really well and clearly explained, the first thing I would do is I would go to the client and have the courage to apologize to them and let them know that you've done them a disservice and that you want to make this better, and by doing these expectations that you will. So I think number one is if you don't have this with the client already, but you want to do it and it's not a new client, you have to kind of out yourself, apologize, and you can move on. The next thing is go over expectations for working with you in any sort of capacity. So that's step one, expectations, laying them out on your end. The next thing that I like to do is I have the client explain back to me what they hear as expectations. So after I say X, Y, and Z are the expectations, I ask them to repeat it back to me. I know this may sound a little bit silly at first and almost comical for some people, but the truth of the matter is a lot of times the things we say, the words that we say it, or even our body language as we're saying it, gives people a different story or a way to communicate with them slightly different. So step two, so one is the expectations, two is have the client repeat them back to you. Make sure that you guys are on the same page. If not, verify it a little bit more, go deeper to it, so they understand the expectations exactly how you do. Step number three, this is the most important out of all of them, is that you get the client, you ask the client, you ask the client to agree for you to be able to hold them to these expectations, and you're gonna hold them to that at all times. Because I think what a lot of times happens with people is, without these expectations being set and your client giving you permission to talk to them about them and uphold them up to these expectations, they may take it as a way of you almost picking on them, bullying them, not feeling really good about them or anything, sort of something personal, when in reality you're their coach, you're looking out for their best self and best goals, so you want to hold them to those expectations. So expectation management is huge. Like we said, number one, from the beginning of the relationship. If not, number two, apologize and make it right. Step number one of expectations. One, you lay out clear expectations from your side. Number two, your client recites them back to you as best as they possibly can to make sure that you're on the same page. What do you hear when I told you these expectations? Step number three, you ask for permission to call them out and hold them to these standards and hold them accountable to it, because then they know what your role is. Your role is to hold them accountable to the expectations and standards. Your role is not to babysit them. It's a really clear divide. It really helps with professionalism. It helps with your ability to have those conversations when you really need to have them. Expectations management, guys, get after it. Thank you.